When I was a kid, we had a book in my closet. I think it had belonged to my uncle's when he was in university, and half of it was short stories and half of it was psychoanalytic theory or something like that. And I remember even as a little kid somehow feeling like it's right in the intersection of these two things that I belong. Oscar Wilde says something in his literary criticism. He says something like, when one hears Chopin, or when one listens to Chopin, one weeps for sins one never committed. And that's how I felt growing up reading literature. I would sometimes wonder, like, how can I identify with all these different characters? They all have experiences that I haven't even had yet. How can I feel what they're feeling? And so it's something about that multi-universal aspect of all different people, but somehow being able to relate imaginatively to so many different realities that I think drew me to literature and then formed a bridge in some ways to therapy and clinical work. So we are in Cedarvale Park, which is a beautiful park right in the center of the city. And we're on a path that runs along the east side of the park. And it's a path that my daughter and I call the secret path, because we can walk along in here and it seems like we're on our own little place in the city. I like paths like this because once you're on them, it feels like you could be anywhere. And so paths like this to me are also a little bit like meditation, because not because of the meditative aspect of walking, but more because when you shut your eyes when you're meditating, you could be anywhere. You've gone inside, and the idea of a secret path to me is this idea that once the visuals on either side have been covered over, you're just here now. I work primarily in emotive therapy called emotion-focused therapy, which is an experiential, process-oriented therapy. Something that emotion-focused therapy and mindfulness have in common is that neither is really interested in what is going to happen or really even in what has happened before. Both are really focused on what is happening right now. Well, I can tell you that it didn't rain last night. The earth under my feet is packed, it's hard, and I can feel that pressure in the soles of my feet. Over the camera, a bird. You might be able to hear the wind that's blowing right now. And farther away, I don't know if the mic picks it up, but there are children playing somewhere outside of this secret path to the west. And even maybe just by looking at this chair, you can get a sense of what it would feel like to sit on this chair. You might imagine that sitting on a path like this, there's flies and little insects that are buzzing about. Sometimes they've landed on my arm or my leg. And so really it's just a matter of being aware of each moment as it comes, as it goes, without too much commentary. It's just, this is what's happening now. There are studies that show that what we call burnout can happen through empathy, through this fellow feeling and feeling it all yourself. But with compassion, along with the empathy, you're bringing this sort of wish, this sort of intentional wish that this person in front of you will come out of their suffering. And to the degree that you're experiencing suffering, then also you'll come out of your suffering. And somehow that seems to create a buoyancy to it, that instead of going down, you're going up.